Right, welcome back. Moving swiftly on with the next build. This is going to be a commission build for a mate of mine at work. My mate Woody, that's his nickname, Woody. He's a motorbike enthusiast. He's got one of those big touring bikes. He goes all around the country with his mate on touring holidays. And he's been asking me the last couple of months, I wonder if you can get a Goldwing GL18 model kit. I've been trawling the internet. Unfortunately, the only models of them you can buy are those die-cast collectors models that I'm already pre-built and them quite small. He said to me, he says, well, can you get like, I don't know, Harley Davidson kits? And I says, yeah, you can. So I showed him some on eBay. And he saw this one and he thought, wow, that looks good. And he says, the bigger the better. Well, that's what he's going to get. This kit is huge. Turning the camera around. It is the Revell 1/8 scale California Highway Patrol Harley Davidson Everglide motorbike. Like I said, it's 1/8 scale, 165 parts, and it's going to be 30 centimeters, which is about a foot. So compared to his, little die-cast ones at home, this is going to be a hell of a lot more bigger. It's going to be huge. I mean, you can see how big the box is compared to my hand. Box art is pretty nice. Looks like Poncho in the background, actually, from Chips. Like I said, pretty much standard. There's what it all might look like when it's finished. Putting that to one side. There's a lot of plastic to this kit. So if you just, I'm just going to pause this, and if you just give me a second, I'll take it all out of the bags. Right, taking the parts out of their bags. They are quite big. I mean, like I said, look at that compared to my hand. This sprue is absolutely huge. So you've got some like boxes on the back. You've got a couple of fenders. Probably the bits of the tank. One of the fenders has actually come off the sprue, but you can see how big it is. Like I said, this ain't no small kit. There's the seat, how big that is. You got the framework to the bike itself, and various bits and bobs. You've got the chains there. Well, they're actually not chains. My mate Woody pointed it out. On the Harley Davidson bikes, they're actually belt fed, belt drive. So I've got to find out what the colour of those belts are. And you've got two chrome sprues. Not looking too bad. When I showed Woody this, he was like, it's a shame you've got to strip these, Wayne, but because it does look nice, but once you put two halves together, you've got that seam, and your foil will take the chrome away. So it's a shame I've got to strip these. I mean, like I said, that one's huge, and this one's even more double. So I might have to cut it off there, maybe, to get it in the bowl, because that's what I'm going to use, my old kitchen bowl. And like I said, you can see how big that is. Detail's pretty nice. I mean, if you look at the rims with the spokes, I'm assuming that's some kind of grill radiator, maybe. There's the engine parts. Not looking, detail is nice and crisp. I mean, just look at the tyres. I mean, you got these two tyres here, and if I just fetch my ruler, these tyres are 3 inches across. I can't believe the enormity of the tyres. Then you've got the front windshield, which is in clear part. I think that's brake cable, and what's going to act as brake cable. Now, the chap I bought it off, I've got these instructions, and it's like in a recycled paper. But then he got a gloss book, and the gloss is an A4 size. Actually, I think it's bigger than A4. He's got a gloss book, and it's even better than compared to the recycled paper. There's your colours. Like I said, I mean, hopefully, this is my first bike. I've never built a bike before, but it looks fairly straightforward. Not looking too bad. There's, like I said, you've got your brake cable. It feels like it's going to be like the rigging lines off the Titanic, that sort of thing. It don't look too bad. There's your decal placement and colour guide. And a bit more on there. Now going over to me shelf. Here's the decals. Like I said, it's California Highway Patrol. And I'm hoping these white decals will be very bold and it will blend into the black plastic. I mean, I've still got some white decal paper left, so I might be able to trace them onto the white decal paper and then put them on top of that. That is looking absolutely fantastic. This is actually bigger than I expected. So with my rambling model kit review done, it's time to get cracking on. Right, I'm outside. I've got my 2 bottles of bleach in my old washing up bowl that we barely use. We do use it for the garden and use it for various jobs around the house. So I'll put my 2 bottles of bleach in there, but I've had a bit of a snag because the handlebars, I'm sticking up that far. I probably should have cut the handlebars off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave, bloody helicopter, I'm going to leave the handlebars and them bars there in the bleach for a couple of hours, probably just before I go to bed. And then what I might do is I might turn this over, because hopefully some of that might have come off on the underneath, and then I'll just pull it out, turn it over. Because these two, I'm going to have to do these probably tomorrow now. I'm going to have to do these in batches, because to get that level of bleach up above that, I'm probably going to end up using 4 bottles, and I'm not going to do that. It's just a waste of bleach. So I'll just see what happens with them handlebars just before I go to bed. Right, I've stripped one of the sprues, and to my surprise, because with the other kits that I've done where I've had to strip the crown sprues, they've actually, on bare black plastic, this one's like on a creamy coloured see-through plastic, but the detail's still there, absolutely wonderful. So this one is now ready for primer. I've still got the other one in the bleach, and that's still working off the crown, so hopefully that will be done by tonight. But again, this is now ready for primer, not too bad at all. Right, here's what's left of me crown sprues. They're nearly pretty much stripped now. The ones that I did manage to strip 100% over the weekend, I've now primered. Detail ain't looking too bad. And you got that bit there. That one's detailed nice, still showing through. You got the spokes on the wheels, the actual rims. You got the detail on the engine. You got the detail on these blocks here. The numbers are still visible on the other side, but I didn't primer that side because those are the inner parts. But on this side, on this sprue, I've still got straggling bits of chrome to remove. I took them out the bleach, get them a quick scrub with the toothbrush and a metal scourer. But like I said, you still got little straggling bits that don't want to come off. On the exhausts, I think that's what they are, and some of the headlamp housings. So I've got to put these back in the bleach. I'm getting there, it's just taking longer than I expected. I've started construction on the engine, or what I think is the engine. I'll put 2 halves together there. I don't know if you can probably just make out the seam. You definitely see the seam there. The seam down there. The other half of the engine, you can probably just make out a seam. There we go. So that's them 2 halves done. And then I've got these 2 halves there. There's a seam all the way around. So I've got to take care of them. Now you've got like a semicircle shape with a straight edge and then like a semicircle stripe with a triangle edge, and that's for those because they plug in there. So you got that one that plugs in there, and then you got that one that plugs in that one, as it says on the plans. So first part you glue 1 and 2 together, and then 3 and 4 together, and then while the glue is drying I just wrap some tape around that, some electrical tape, and then I glued 5 and 6 together, which makes that assembly, and then it says you've got to slot those into there. Then you've got those 2 halves assemblies, which is 8 and 7. But those can't go in until you mount, like I said, the completed engine parts 1 and 2, 3 and 4, because apparently they wrap around those little rods there. So that's them there ready. It's not much progress, but it is definitely something. I've done a bit more work on the bike. The engine parts, I've sanded down the seam the best I can, but the seam is in between the grooves, and the grooves is probably about less than 1 mil thick, and I ain't got nothing that I can get down there, so I've just sanded those down the best I can. Some of the seam still remains, but everywhere else that there was a seam, and on the top there, I've managed to get rid of that. Same on this one as well. Around the grooves, there's not much I can do. I've sanded on the tops of the grooves and they're not too bad, but it's just getting inside the grooves, to be honest. I mean, that one still remains, unfortunately, between the grooves. But on the top there, that seam's pretty much gone. You got this main engine piece as well. The seam is pretty much gone. The line still remains, but it is smooth. I mean, when I primer this, I'll probably be able to see the seams a bit better. So that's the engine parts pretty much ready for primer. Now we're going on to the front and rear rims. Now, on the plans, you got F and R. So F is for front, R is for rear. So you got rear 26 and rear 25, which are those. I've marked them as well. Gluing them together was dead easy. It actually snapped into place around the inside of the rim. I don't know if you can see that line, but they actually snap into place. But I still ran the glue around the inside and then just snapped them back into place, and then just sanded down where they was on the sprue. Now the seam actually in the middle of the spokes, it's negligible. You can't really make it out, to be honest. So that's the rear one. And then you got F26 and F25. Now this one's primered. I don't know if I can get the light. I don't know if you can make it out, but there ain't really, there's a line little bit, but to be honest it's negligible, because on the outer part of the rim, just above the spokes, there's a line each side. And I don't know, you probably can't make it out, to be honest, but there's actually a line on that side and a line on that side just on the outer part of the spoke. But again, slipping these into place, clicking them into place, make sure you get the spokes aligned, which was dead easy. And I've just glued that together. And this is the primered one. And these are not looking too bad, actually. I mean, the thickness, if I just line these up together, it's trying to do this one-handed. You can just about make out that the actual rear one is actually slightly wider than the front one. So this is all ready for primer now.